Hey everybody, and welcome to SASoccerMagazine.com. I've got Oliver Keohane and Moneyball, Dylan, the man. Big shout out from my brother who loves your caricature, just loves you, man.
Thank you to your brother.
I didn't ask him in what way, but
It's fine.
I think it's more from a football point of view. But you can't be sure of my brother. Interesting week last week. I got the most right, but it was only 4, and you lads came
three apiece.
3 apiece.
So you're creeping up on me.
Yeah. So Ollie's on 41 now.
I've been known to do that, creep. But sorry.
Ollie's on 41. You're on 39, and I'm on 36.
You're nowhere then.
I'm
nowhere.
long game. Tortoise in the hair.
Okay. Interesting. Remember last week I was punting Man City at 40%. So I'm punting them again at 55%. I'm going to put a bit more money on Man City. I still think they're going to run away with the league. But for them to drift out 15%.
Based on one loss.
Yeah.
Based on one loss.
Essentially.
And I think also for a Tottenham win over Liverpool. We look at the standings, and you've got 3 points separating first from sixth, and Tottenham winning that game rather fortunately, I must say.
Yeah, I mean they didn't look bad, but that really should.
Should have been a goal for
Considering
Liverpool.
they were playing 9 men, they obviously dominated the ball, but they weren't creating chances.
Exactly.
I mean, Liverpool were more than happy to deal with everything. They were just pretty much crossing it into the box.
Yeah.
And that was it.
And let's be honest. I mean, look, the numbers look good for City. Six wins, 1 loss, 17 goals, 4 or 5 against. But they haven't looked. They're not firing on all cylinders, as people would say.
Yeah, I think it does show the caliber of certain players, despite the extensive squad that City has. So old cliche, but like certain players being missed in their absence. And you really have seen, Bill, you mentioned before the show, absence of Rodri, the absence of Kevin De Bruyne. It's as much midfield quality as they've got there. That guy really is sort of in a league of his own at the moment. So despite City's incredibly expensive quality side, there are still certain guys that are just like a notch above the rest.
Irreplaceable.
Yeah. And I think they're feeling that. Wouldn't say they're feeling the heat too much. It's one loss, like you're saying, but interesting nonetheless. You look at a game like that.
Well, I think they also lost to Newcastle last week. I
mean more in the context of the Prem. But
yeah. But I mean, in terms of panic, I think if they had got a result against Leipzig, which was a good result because they lost to them
for the last 10 minutes. It didn't look like they were going to get a result, and then they made the breakthrough.
So interesting. I mean, Man United, team in disarray again.
Still.
Well, especially in this day and age where we tend to overreact very quickly onto any sort of, we're like goldfish. We've only got a memory that serves the current and the now. So, but worst start to the Premier League season ever.
Yeah, Ten Hag's
broken his own record.
Got like a lot of an Ian Foster thing going on at the moment. All the records that you don't want.
Exactly. But at least he'll be in the record book, so you can take some solace for that.
Yeah.
And of course, Wolves beating Man City last weekend. What to read into the form? What do you make of Man United?
So I think obviously this shouldn't really be an excuse, but they really are struggling with injuries at the moment. I mean, the fact that for the past 2 games they've played Amrabat at like left back really shows that they're struggling because Luke Shaw's injured, Malasia's injured, and then they got Reguilon from Spurs who just got injured now again. So that's 3 left backs that are injured. I think also Mason Mount's been out who is meant to be a very important player for them.
Yeah.
Varane's been injured, their main centre-back for most of the season. Martinez is now out for a while. And
so things looking good.
Does, every club goes through that period where they have a lot of injuries and every other club has no sympathy. I mean, Liverpool had it where we had Henderson and Fabinho at centre-back for a whole season basically. And it's not really an excuse, but...
Van Dijk was out for a long period. I mean, it does...
Every team has injuries.
Look, we didn't have Klopp fighting with his players.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on off the...
I think that is a very big contributing... Like, that's the contributing factor. I think that they really are struggling with injuries at the moment. And now Casemiro I think he got a straight red against Galatasaray.
Yeah.
So he's going to be suspended in the Champions League now. That's another, I don't know, their problems are kind of just compounding at the moment.
I think maybe they should be looking at consolidating their place in the Europa Cup because after 2 losses, and you've got one of them, and them facing Bayern Munich. I don't see them beating Bayern Munich on the home leg for them.
Stranger things have happened though.
Yeah.
They have, but I mean, we're talking about Man United, and it doesn't look good. So, let's get straight into it, and we can weave the conversation from last week, this week, and what they're going to do. Luton versus Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, I think Spurs will be kind of relieved that they got, or maybe happily surprised with the 3 points from Liverpool, and that it happened in the fashion that it did, know. So I think they might be kind of like looking a bit like, got out of that one, luckily with the best possible result. And kind of onus is on them to then travel to Luton and really like continue the momentum. Because there was a good chance that they would have been coming into this game off the back of a loss or a draw. But given the, the cards, the offside call, they've won that. So, I like Spurs to go there and get the job done. I think it's fairly straightforward. I've gone for a 3-1 Spurs away win.
I think this is pretty straightforward, but I must give Luton credit. They are starting to, get some form into the season. I was not expecting them to beat Everton at all. I think they played pretty well against Everton, but Everton are terrible.
I was going to say.
But still, I mean, Spurs. I think good teams, they don't remember their last week's results. Like they take the 3 points and they forget about it. So I think they should win this week. I think 3-1 is a good scoreline.
I'm going to go with a 2-0.
Okay.
For Tottenham, obviously. Next up, we have the mouth-watering prospects of Fulham versus Sheffield United.
How much do you read into this one? I think, I've said it before, in a sort of game like this, I think you do take a lot from the home team, and home ground advantage. Sheffield not inspiring much. I like a low-scoring 1-0 Fulham win.
I agree. I think that, I think Fulham, they didn't play badly against Chelsea. They just didn't have any sort of attacking threat. I'm not going to use the word penetration because I know how you feel about that one. But,
I do get a bit squeamish when you use that word.
They had more possession than Chelsea. They had a very similar amount of shots. So I think I'm going to go 2-0 Fulham. I think Sheffield defensively are terrible.
Well, they are. If you look at them, they've given up 19 goals. They've drawn 1. They've got 1 point. They're rooted to the bottom of the table, and they're going to Craven Cottage. You've got to fancy Fulham's chance to get all 3 points. I'm going to say 3-1 Fulham.
3-1, high scoring.
Yeah, well. Now another mouth-watering prospect, Everton versus Bournemouth. If one word comes to mind, who cares? But
1-1 comes to mind. I think it's simple as that. Bottom of the table clash, if you want to even call it a clash. I think one apiece.
I think after Everton's win against Brentford, last week I backed Everton because I was like, how can you beat Brentford away from home by such a scoreline? And Bournemouth have been playing pretty well, but they got absolutely thumped by Arsenal. So,
well, when you say they've been playing pretty well, I mean they've got 1 win.
Results-wise, they haven't been doing well, but actually in game, I think they've been really.
Well, they got 3 draws.
They've been making it tough for teams to beat them.
Yeah.
They don't just. I think I've said it before. They don't just let teams come and dominate them anymore. I mean, Arsenal did, but overall this season, I think their narrative has been that they've been difficult to beat. I'm going to go for a Bournemouth 2-1 win.
That's ballsy. I just think I'm going to go for an Everton 1-0 win. So we've got all bases covered on this one.
Yeah.
Someone's gaining a point and 2 are dropping. I like that. But I just see Everton getting a little bit better. And Bournemouth, for me, they haven't won a game. Going away, Everton will have to target this and look for some points, because if not, then they're going to be sucked into that relegation zone, that relegation battle very early. Who would bet on this next game? Manchester United versus Brentford.
Both teams to score, potentially a bit worth looking at.
How many corners?
Yeah, Dol, you
Something
want
like
to take us away on this one?
I personally, I think I've gone for a 1-0 United win. But just because Brentford, they started off the season really well, but they've been really inconsistent for the past, 3 or 4 game weeks. They're losing games they shouldn't lose. They're drawing games they shouldn't draw. They haven't really, I think they've probably won 1 game, or they maybe haven't in the past 4 weeks.
They've won 1.
1 game.
One.
I mean, the fact that...
They only lost 2 out of 7, but there's 4
But it's the draws that's the problem.
Yeah.
I think that they started off really well in Boema and Vissa. They were scoring goals, but now... I think that, especially that Everton result, that makes me doubt them a lot, because Everton, up until that point, were genuinely terrible. But to concede, I think it was 3 goals against Everton, that is a serious red flag for and I think it was at home as well. Yeah. So, I'm going to go for 1-0 United to win, just because even though we've spoken earlier about United's injury struggles, I think, and they just lost to Palace at home, but that goal they conceded to Palace was pretty much a wonder goal. I mean, for your centre-back to score like a top corner volley, is you can't really defend something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for 1-0 United win.
Well, I think United are due a draw. In the last 5, I think they've, I think it's lost 3-1-2, if I'm not mistaken. Everton obviously drawn 3 of their last 5. I don't see any reason why United would get better this week. Record at Old Trafford, it's not been fantastic. But I do think it'll be high scoring, like I said, so I think it's going to be 2-2 United Brentford.
Okay. It's interesting, I saw this meme on IG. It was this kid, someone asked him who his favourite soccer team was, and he said Man United. And he said, who's your favourite player? And he said, fucking none of them. They're all useless. Very clever. And that kind of sums it up. They don't have any, they've always been a team with the Cantona, the Ronaldo, Beckham.
I mean, we were chatting about it before this, just about the new Beckham documentary that's been released, and you look at the caliber of players in that squad, it's endless.
Cantona, Beckham.
Every position there's a superstar or a legend,
Schmeichel, yep, absolutely.
I also think, United's problem at the moment is Rashford is in terrible form right now. I think he's really struggling to make the shift from the main goal scorer of the team, because last season he scored, I think, majority of their goals. Yeah. And now that Højlund is there, he wants the ball given to him. He needs service, but Rashford's instinct is to score the goals himself. And I think they're really struggling or Rashford particularly is struggling to change his game from the main man to now the provider or a provider. I think a lot of the runs Højlund's making are going to waste because Rashford's instinct is cut inside, shoot himself instead of go around, put the ball across, or look to put the ball in. And I think also, I think they're just really struggling right now to fit together as a team, because there have been a lot of changes. They're struggling with injuries. I think that's their biggest problem at the moment. Their front line just isn't clicking at all.
Kev, what's your score for the United Brentford game?
I like a 2-1 for Man United.
Okay.
As bad as they are, I really think that they do a couple of breaks, and like you say, Brentford losing to Everton the way they did, just starting to go a bit south. So look, there's a definite advantage playing at Old Trafford, and hopefully normal service will be resumed this week. So I'm going 2-1 Man United over Brentford.
Okay.
Then we have Burnley versus Chelsea. These are tough games this weekend.
Team that surprised us all last week, Chelsea.
Chelsea, yeah. So Do they go on from there? I wouldn't bet on it, but 8-11 is not a bad odd.
I mean, after they got their first win, they went on like a 5-game run. Where
Okay,
they
run. Wow, could you explain that to me? Is that like what's a gay run?
It's what Chelsea did for 5 games.
Is that now mandatory?
Just struggle to get
during
away.
Pride Month.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go for that gay run. What are you saying, man?
I'm saying that last time they won, I think they beat Luton comfortably 3-0. They went on like a 5-game run where they
Couldn't beat.
where they couldn't beat anyone. They were losing to
couldn't
teams.
beat an egg.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are you saying?
I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw.
Look, Burnley got a win for. I think they played their game week 2 match
Against
against Luton on Monday,
Yeah.
Tuesday evening. Got a win, but prior to that, took 2 from Newcastle.
Who's not a bad side, let's be honest.
Newcastle really found form now.
Yeah, no, they're hitting their straps. I don't see the same thing for Chelsea. Getting a win and then going on a 5-game losing streak. But I don't think they're going to inspire any young football fans with the quality of football this week. I think Chelsea go and scrape a 1-0 against Burnley.
Yeah, it's tough because usually you start seeing form emerge and you've got some sort of clear picture on where teams are going. But I'm not convinced with Chelsea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that I'm gonna go with a draw, 1-1.
Okay.
Not convincingly though, I must say.